I interviewed Dr. Robert Sweeney, an instructional designer for the University of Southern California's Center for Excellence in Teaching, or CET program. Dr. Sweeney received a bachelor's degree in chemistry from Worcester Polytechnic Institute and a PhD in chemistry from Caltech. Dr. Sweeney has over 25 years of teaching experience at high school and college levels, where he also did curriculum design, which led him to pursue a master's degree in instructional design at Purdue. After receiving this degree, Dr. Sweeney began at USC, where he currently works in CET. As an instructional designer, Dr. Sweeney produces resources for faculty and teaches the basics of pedagogy in several different instructional courses for graduate students as well as faculty. He also acts as a second set of eyes to see where faculty members need to improve to engage students, reduce extraneous load, design learning objectives, and then align them with assessments that are specific and measurable. He's also been part of developing a downloadable suite of faculty teaching tools, such as a teaching checklist and a course design evaluation checklist, so faculty can train themselves on how to evaluate one another and what they should be looking for in their own course design. Working with faculty members can be a challenge because even though a faculty member may be a world-renowned expert in their field, they may not know pedagogy. As an instructional designer, you have to be an expert in telling them they're doing something wrong without offending them. Another challenge is the fact that USC has few policies for teaching, so faculty members are not required to make suggested alterations to their teaching, even if they're violating university policy, and policy violations cannot be reported to single-out professors. As a result, recommendations made by instructional designers like Dr. Sweeney are weakened and often go unused when there's no policy to reinforce the suggested practices. Dr. Sweeney suggested skills such as being adaptable and also developing listening skills to allow you to understand why faculty members teach the way that they do, which can influence what practices you are able to recommend to them. It's also essential to have a strong foundation in theory and research in order to propagate evidence-based research and to give you credibility when speaking with faculty. Teaching experience is essential because having teaching experience makes you more legitimate to faculty and allows you to give examples of modeled behavior. The top recommendation Dr. Sweeney had was to have thick skin and recognize that people's harsh reactions are not personal and you have to make the decision to not let that affect you. He also recommended instructional designers decide early on whether they want to work in industry or education because it can be hard to switch from one area to another later on. Dr. Sweeney also suggested having a basic knowledge of HTML coding as well as how to use e-learning platforms like Articulate Storyline and to create a personal content management system to act as a working portfolio to potential employers. Job descriptions themselves seem broad. They all asked for problem solvers, strong written and verbal communication, and organization. One similarity to the skills Dr. Sweeney suggested was all the descriptions required prior teaching experience. Another similarity was the job descriptions required the knowledge of a variety of e-learning platforms and video editing systems. And although Dr. Sweeney didn't list that as a skill, he did highly recommend having a functional knowledge of similar systems. I chose to interview an instructional designer not because I knew I wanted to be in this profession, but because I knew it was something I wanted to know more about as a possibility for myself. I know that I want to work in higher education, hopefully here at USC, and this kind of allowed me to understand the scope of an instructional designer's job. This did bring up some concerns and areas I need to work on while I'm in the program, specifically the fact that I've never worked in a teaching capacity. So I would need to have some experience in that to be competitive in the job market and relate to faculty. Additionally, I don't currently have a lot of experience with many of the aforementioned e-learning and video editing platforms. So even though we've created a CMS in class and we're learning to use like Screencast, Omatic, and some different technologies there, I do need to be able to kind of seek out resources to teach myself while I'm in the program. So for me, this means that while I'm in my program, not only do I need to get teaching experience, I need to be diligent in seeking out foundational knowledge of e-learning platforms through lynda.com or the program. After this interview, I feel more confident in my ability to navigate my way towards becoming an instructional designer, and I need to be proactive in utilizing my resources while I'm in the program.